In 1953, the United States government began secretly drugging its own citizens. Most of them never knew what happened, and the ones who survived were never the same. But here's what they don't want you to know. The program never really ended. It just changed its name. This is the story of MK Ultra, and it's darker than you think.
Behind every historical fact lies a deeper secret. Welcome to Veil Theory.
April 13th, 1953. The height of the Cold War. CIA Director Allen Dulles sat in his office at Langley and signed a document that would destroy thousands of lives. Code name: MK Ultra. The official reason? During the Korean War, American POWs returned home completely changed. They praised communism. They denounced America. They spoke like their minds had been rewritten. The CIA became obsessed with one terrifying question. Had the Soviets cracked the code to the human mind? And if they had, America needed to catch up, at any cost. Dr. Sidney Gottlieb became the man in charge, a brilliant chemist with a clubfoot and absolutely no moral boundaries. Congress gave him $20 million. No oversight, no accountability, no limits. His first weapon? LSD. But Gottlieb didn't just want to study it. He wanted to weaponize it. He believed LSD could extract confessions from Soviet spies, or better yet, turn enemy agents into American puppets. But there was a problem. Nobody knew what massive doses of LSD would do to the human brain. So Gottlieb decided to find out. On Americans, without their consent. In 1953, a CIA operative named George Hunter White opened a safe house in Greenwich Village, New York. To the neighbors, it looked like an upscale apartment. But inside, it was a laboratory, disguised as a brothel. White hired prostitutes to lure men off the streets, businessmen, students, anyone. The women would offer drinks laced with LSD, massive doses, enough to shatter reality. Then White would watch through one-way mirrors, taking notes while these men's minds disintegrated. Some victims hallucinated for days. Others suffered permanent psychological breaks. One man tried to jump out a window, convinced he could fly. And the CIA, they just wrote it down. Clinical observations on human suffering. But Operation Midnight Climax wasn't even the worst of it. Because while White was drugging random citizens in New York, something far more sinister was happening in Canada. Dr. Ewen Cameron ran the Allen Memorial Institute at McGill University in Montreal. On paper, he was one of the most respected psychiatrists in North America. He'd even been president of the American Psychiatric Association. But behind closed doors, Cameron was conducting experiments that would make Nazi doctors proud. He called his technique psychic driving, the complete erasure and reprogramming of human personality. Here's how it worked. First, patients were given massive doses of LSD, barbiturates, and other drugs to put them into comas. Not for hours, for weeks. In one case, a patient was kept unconscious for 86 days straight. While they were under, Cameron would attach electrodes to their heads and blast them with electroshock therapy. Not the controlled treatment used today. Cameron used voltages 30 to 40 times higher than normal. He was deliberately damaging their brains, but that wasn't enough for him. While his patients lay unconscious, he would strap headphones to their heads and play recorded messages on loop. You are a good mother. You are a bad mother. Hundreds of thousands of repetitions, sometimes for 16 hours a day. The goal? To completely erase their existing personality and implant a new one. Cameron called it depatterning. The CIA called it progress. But here's the part that makes your blood run cold. These weren't volunteers. They were ordinary people who walked into a hospital seeking help for minor problems. Lana Ponting was 16 years old, a rebellious teenager. Nothing unusual. In 1958, a judge decided she needed psychiatric help and sent her to Cameron's clinic. She was given LSD, electroshock therapy, forced into a coma. When she woke up weeks later, she couldn't remember her own mother. To this day, she suffers nightmares, panic attacks. The damage is permanent. Mary Morrow entered the hospital with postpartum depression after having her fourth child, a common, treatable condition. Cameron's treatments left her unable to recognize her own children. She had to relearn how to use a toilet. Jean-Charles Paget checked in for anxiety. He left with permanent brain damage and no memory of his life before the hospital. Val Orlikov was the wife of a Canadian member of parliament. She sought treatment for depression. Cameron destroyed her mind so thoroughly, she had to be taught how to eat with a fork. And here's the thing that should terrify you. Cameron treated over 100 patients this way. The CIA funded every single experiment. They knew exactly what he was doing, and they paid him to keep doing it. But MK Ultra didn't just destroy patients, it killed its own. Frank Olson was a bioweapons scientist working at Fort Detrick, Maryland. In November 1953, Olson attended a retreat with his CIA colleagues. Sidney Gottlieb was there, and without telling anyone, he spiked the after-dinner drinks with LSD. Olson started hallucinating violently. He became paranoid, convinced people were trying to kill him. 9 days later, Frank Olson crashed through a hotel window on the 13th floor and fell to his death. The CIA called it suicide, but Olson's family never believed it. Here's what we know now. Olson had witnessed disturbing interrogation techniques during the Korean War. He was developing doubts about the work. He was talking about quitting, and then he died. The CIA hid the fact that Olson had been given LSD for 22 years. When the truth finally came out in 1975, the government called it a tragic accident and paid the family $750,000. But in 1994, Olson's body was exhumed. The forensic evidence suggested he was struck in the head before going through that window. It wasn't suicide, and it wasn't an accident. To this day, the CIA refuses to release the full file on Frank Olson's death. By 1973, MK Ultra had become a liability. CIA Director Richard Helms knew the program would eventually be exposed, so he did something extraordinary. He ordered the destruction of all MK Ultra files. Thousands of documents detailing 2 decades of illegal human experimentation. Gone. Shredded. Burned. Erased from history. In 1974, investigative journalist Seymour Hersh broke the story in the New York Times. The headline read, "Huge CIA operation reported in U.S. against anti-war forces." The details were horrifying, but incomplete, because Helms had destroyed the evidence. What we know today comes from a single box of financial records that survived the purge by accident. A filing mistake saved the only proof that MK Ultra ever existed. In 1977, Senate hearings revealed the scope of the program, but critical details remain classified to this day. The CIA has never fully disclosed how many people were experimented on, or how many died. In 1988, 9 Canadian victims received $67,000 each, an insult for destroyed lives. In 1992, 77 more victims got $80,000, but the Canadian government refused to admit wrongdoing. Hundreds of other victims were excluded because they didn't even know they'd been experimented on until it was too late to file claims. Dr. Ewen Cameron died of a heart attack in 1967, never facing consequences. Sidney Gottlieb retired to a quiet life and died peacefully in 1999. Alan Dulles lived long enough to see the program exposed. He expressed no remorse. The CIA has never apologized. And here's the part they don't tell you. MK-Ultra officially ended in 1973. But in 1977, a Senate investigation discovered the program had simply been renamed. MK Search. MK Often. MK Chickwit. The projects continued under different code names, different budgets. Same goal. How much of it is still happening today? We'll never know, because the files are still classified. This is MK-Ultra, the CIA's darkest secret. Thousands of innocent people used as human guinea pigs, lives destroyed, minds shattered, evidence buried, and a government that chose power over humanity. The question isn't whether it happened. The documents prove it did. The question is, what else are they hiding?